and Tashi Delay from Kauai Tibetan Buddhist Dharma Center here on the island of Kauai. We make the offering of this class every Thursday night, 6 to 8 o'clock, and it is zoomed worldwide. I'm Lama Tashi, and when we present these classes, it's for the purpose of learning to meditate. In the Tibetan tradition of what we call Mahamudra. Mahamudra means the great seal or the great view. When we use the word seal, it means like a command or like an order. When we say the view, it means how do we look at our own true nature of our consciousness, our mind. So when we present these classes in the Tibetan shamanistic Lamaism tradition, it's a lineage transmission that goes back 2,600 years to Shakyamuni Buddha, which presented through India and up to the 8th century, it crossed into Tibet. Then all of the Himalayan mountains, including Tibet, Mongolia, Eastern China, parts of Russia, all started to grow and develop in this tradition. Then it came to the West, and now we have it worldwide, globally. It's what we call a Dharma virus. And so now we have this to compensate for the actual viruses, diseases, and so forth that arise. I'm going to show a picture of my root Lama, and then I'm going to say a prayer that I start my practice with every day. And this is a picture of my root Lama, Kala Rinpoche, as he appeared to us in the 70s on Maui and Honolulu, here in Hawaii. And I'm going to say this prayer. I pray for the blessing of my Lama Guru, my great and completely worthy spiritual friend. I pray that outstanding loving kindness, compassion, and the realization of Mahamudra penetrate my stream of being now today. On a lotus sun and moon disk on the top of my head, my Lama appears as Dorje Chang. I request from him the body, speech, and mind realizations and the qualities and activities of all the Buddhas of the 3 times, and may it penetrate my stream of being now today. So those are actually 2 prayers. Then this book was presented to me by our translator on Maui, Georgiana Cook, as a gift. And it's the whole life of this guru in both his living, dying, and after death stage. And when he was alive, the first part of the book is the main topic of teachings pertaining to the practices of that we do of Sutra and Tantra. I'm going to read an excerpt that pertains to this term, Mahamudra, which in Sanskrit is Dzogchen, mind of bliss. And it goes like this. The coarse and gross aspect of the unimpeded dynamic manifestation of one's mind is conscious experience, which does not depart from the empty and luminous nature of that same mind. But it is the experience, for example, of seeing and recognizing form and forms, hearing and recognizing sound as sound, and so forth. This is the ability of the mind to experience the phenomenal world and to make distinctions and value judgments based on discrimination. We may use a metaphor here. The emptiness of the mind is like the ocean. The luminosity of the mind is the sunlit ocean. The unimpeded dynamic quality of the mind is the waves of the sunlit ocean. When we take the waves in the sunlight ocean as an event or situation, it is not as though we are trying to separate the ocean from the waves or sunlight. You can't do that. There are three aspects, simple aspects of a single experience. The unity of these three aspects forms the seed for the potential for what we call enlightenment. They are the pure nature of mind. The impure obscurations, ignorance, confusion, and overflow overlays what is internally the nature of mind itself. And then there's another paragraph. There has been pure nature, there has always been the pure nature of mind. There has always been, at the same time, fundamental ignorance in the mind. The essential empty nature of mind has never been recognized for what it is. The luminous nature of mind has never been experienced for what it is. And the unimpeded dynamic qualities of manifestation of the mind, the actual consciousness, this awareness has never been directly experienced for what it is. Because the mind of ignorance, which is so subtle and so fundamental, is so existence in the mind itself, it has been there in a valid way as long as mind has been in existence. We speak of it as co-emergent ignorance. The second level of ignorance that we might distinguish is what is termed the labeling aspect of experiences. This state of ignorance is conventional or relative ignorance. Not only do we lack direct experience of the essential emptiness of the mind, its true nature, but for example, we substitute a self or an ego for that experience. The individual mind is something ultimately real, but it is a distortion that has taken place due to the lack of the direct experience of the clarity and luminosity of mind. There is a projection of something where the mind creates an object and then in that process creates a subject. This is the relative level of ignorance. Rather than being simply a lack of direct experience, one has introduced a distortion into something and calls it a thing. And that's what we call subject-object duality. Now this, what I'm reading, started 4 pages back and goes on for several pages later on. But all of it is simply the Lama's pointing out instruction for people that are interested in spiritual development as a state of growth into a state of evolution, because we're always growing, we're always developing, and we're always evolving. If the process stops at one of those levels, there's no accomplishment. If you stop at the level of growth, you can't reach the level of development. If you don't use growth and development to evolve, there's no real purpose in existence. And so this is where the Dharma comes in. The word Dharma really means antidote, based on what we call wisdom. And the wisdom is twofold. One about wisdom of the outer phenomenal world and how it functions in relation to us, and how our inner state of consciousness exists and relates to that or intermingles with that. When these two are on the same level, that's called Mahamudra. And when I say same level, I mean in harmony. So that harmony is replacing the relative state of existence that is full of pain and suffering, which is what we are now experiencing globally. And no one's left out of this. In that relationship, since we're all in this together, in the same situation, that's actually a Buddha field. That's a state of unity. Because there's no one left out. And so when we do practices in this tradition, it's based on that idea. And that is actually a Buddha field. And because of that, we can purify that state of interconnectedness so that we grow, develop, and evolve into higher states of consciousness, which benefits the world around us and the sentient beings that live everywhere in this world. All the animals, all the humans, and all the spirits. So tonight we're going to do the practices that speed up this process of interconnectedness. And the first one that we'll be doing, which we start our class with, is taking refuge. Then once we have taken refuge, which is the altruistic motivation, the support system of the 3 jewels and the 3 roots, and the actual bodhisattva practice of the 6 perfections, those 3, then we start with the 3 lights breathing process, which is how the transmission of all sutra and tantric practice, called Shine and Latang, or Samatha and Vipassana, are directed to us through our lamas. Then the second part of the practice is, because all of this is based on healing, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, then we will introduce the 5 elements practice. And since we have this global situation now of COVID, I call it 45, but whatever number, this universal global situation is actually being carried by the air element. And this is why we have this social separation process in place. And the air element will be the one we use for the 5 elements healing tonight. Then that's all on the Shine, Samatha, we call the relative level of attaining a state of physical wellness based on peace and tranquility, loving kindness, and interest in the well-being of everyone else, animals, humans, and spirits, which we call altruistic compassion. And that means no one left out, no sentient being left out. Then the second part of the class, we're going to do the Chenrezig practice, which moves us from the relative or the sutra level of Shine practice into the Vipassana Latang or Mahamudra level. And this is the first part is very symptomatic. The second part of these practices, using the deity, for instance, Chenrezig, which is the #1 deity introduced, either Tara or Chenrezig, is to deal with the cause of our conflict, of our dis-ease, physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual dis-ease. And that is directly starting to experience the luminosity as the state of everything, and the fluidness, this constantly virtual shifting phenomenal world, constantly changing moment to moment, day to day, and so forth, in time, and how to deal with that. And at the same time, greatly lessen, not only for ourselves but others, this pain and suffering that exists in the relative temporal state of existence. And with the Chenrezig practice, of course, we'll introduce the Tonglen practice of taking and sending, which I personally have been extending to 8 billion humans for the past few months. Everything's come to a head in the past few days, but this whole situation has been developing for and growing for many, many weeks. And now we know for sure. Now we're in it up to here. First, we start with the altruistic motivation. This is absolutely necessary. And it differentiates Tibetan Buddhism, this path of the Bodhisattva or Mahamudra, from all other traditions, religious or otherwise, on the planet. And it goes like this. We can all say this together if you have the refuge. I'm reading it. In order to attain enlightenment for ourselves and limitless sentient beings, our mothers, we now, all together, take refuge, and it's very important now to offer prostration. That's the communication that we are giving to everyone, the spirits that inhabit the body and our homes around us, which we are now quarantined in, and the lands on which we are in charge of. That one prayer, that one aspect of consciousness, all inclusive, is so important because it's the theme of everything we do. Everything we do is like an offering for everybody else in our environment. I'm going to say that prayer in Sanskrit, because Sanskrit is how all the Dharma is now introduced around the planet to all the cultures of human beings. Da dong jo wa nam pe da dong yam pe sem chem dam che du di ne jung ti ju si jang shu ning po la chi ki bar du. They will chant the 6 refuges in Sanskrit. Paden lama dampa nam la japsu chiyo yedam chakor gilatso nam la japsu chiyo sanje chom dende nam la japsu chiyo dampe chur nam la japsu chiyo Tape Gendu Nama Japsu Chiyo Bao Kandro Shokyum Sume Sho Yeshe Kim Shendam Tempa Nam La Japsu Chiyo. In the Bodhisattva 6 Perfections prayer, Sanjay Chodam Choki Chodam Majay Chubadu Dagni Chaksu Chi Dagi Jinzo Jike Sonam Itola Kenzer Sanjay Kupam Sho. When we say Palden Lampa, Dampa, we are saying we go for refuge to all the gurus, all the lamas, men and women teachers of this sutra and Mahayana tradition, Tantric tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. When we say Chukor Gi, we say we are going for refuge to all of the yidams, which are inseparable from the Lama and transmitted as antidotes to heal the body, speech, and mind in meditation practice. When we say Sanjay, Chom Dende, that means we're going refuge to all the Buddhas as examples of how to conquer the emotional conflict of the mind and move into this state of emptiness and be okay with it and know how to use it. That's called the Supreme Dharma, Dampe Chur, that is the Supreme Dharma or wisdom nature of one's mind that already knows everything and how to use it, based on the fluidity of the mind and its luminous quality. Tampe Gendu means we go to refuge to all the teachers of the Sutra and Tantric tradition and learn how to be like them and take care of everybody and take care of our environment. And finally, Yeshe Chen Dong Dempa Namla Chap Sushil is the refuge to the Dakas and Dakinis, which we call Pawos and Khandro. Khandro is the female spiritual Dakini of power and Buddha, and accomplishes Buddha's activity. The Pawos are the male aspect, which accomplishes the methods that activate Buddha activity. These are the protectors and defenders of the Dharma, and all of them have this wisdom eye of transcending awareness, which means no judgmental mind, no emotional effect or quality, none. So that explains we go for refuge to all the holy lamas, we go for refuge to all the idioms, the deities gathered in the mandala. In the mandalas that we practice, we go for refuge to all the Buddhas, those who have conquered the mind and gone beyond. We go for refuge to all this supreme Dharma. We go for refuge to all the noble Sangha and the teachers for the Sangha. We go for refuge to all the Dakas and Dakinis, or the protectors and defenders of the Dharma. And these six are our support. They all have the wisdom eye of transcending awareness and how to grow, develop, and evolve. The second part, Sanjay Chodende Namla Chab Suchio Bardu Dakli Namla Chab Suchio Dagi Jinsope Namki Chola Penjur Sanjay Drupar Sho, that is to the Buddha Dharma and this supreme assembly of the refuge. We go for refuge until we attain enlightenment. May I, through merit, gain from practicing the 6 bodhisattva perfections or disciplines, accomplish Buddhahood for the sake of all beings. You cannot say these 3 prayers enough. For instance, if you do prostrations, which I'm highly recommending because you're sequestered at home and you need to keep your body active, Abby and I do them keep active. We also go for walks and other activities. But these refuges are done with saying this refuge prayer in English. We go for refuge to the Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, Lama, deities, and protectors in order to bring all things to enlightenment. While visualizing the refuge tree, which is like having a bunch of birds in a tree, all the lineage lamas on the branches, the Dharma texts of Sutra and Tantra behind on the back branches. All the lower branches are filled with Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and the central branch, Yidams, and then around, completely around the tree like a string of lights, are all the Dharma protectors, the Pavos and Kongru. Then here in this ocean of samsara is you doing the prostrations with all your mother, father, friends, relatives, and all sentient beings in the universe, like an ocean of beings, doing the prostration exactly with you. That's how you think when you do prostration. So your mind is side up, you're saying the refuge prayer, and you're exercising by laying down and standing up. That's about as simple as we can make it. Would you put this back on the shrine? Under the Buddha. Symbols. I want to show you one of the 8 auspicious symbols. It's called the 8-spoked wheel. And what it is a symbol of the 5 aspects of how you interact with the world sensually and emotionally with your thoughts and so forth, using your body, speech, and mind. So your 5 sensual perceptions and your body, speech, and mind are these 8 spokes, and they carry 8 remedies. And they're in the 8 spokes, coming from the center outward. The first one is to completely transform attachment, aversion, and ignorance, together with pride and jealousy, and all states of fear, anxiety, and depression. So that's the first 5 spokes. Those are what we call the 5 dhyana Buddhas. Then the body, speech, and mind are the aspects of integrating physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually the Dharma, however it's presented and how it's activated in your situation. And this outer wheel, the rim, is the connection that is for the benefit of the whole universe. And all these color codes inside, blue, green, red, yellow, and white, are the codes of the emotional transformations, power and energy, together with their antidotes being activated in the individual doing the practice with the guidance of the teacher. So that's the 8-spoked wheel. And there are 7 more auspicious signs, but we'll save those. Now we're going to do the 3 lights meditation practice. Without meditation, no accomplishment, no real growth, no real development, and no spiritual evolution. Sit with the back straight, eyes in front, open. You can soften the gaze, but don't close your eyes. Head slightly tilted forward, hands in a comfortable position, on the knees or in the lap, mouth closed, tongue resting against the palate. You bring your focus, your awareness, to your breath. As you inhale, you visualize white light as the energy, life force of the universe filling your lungs. The second process is to activate the energies of the elements filling your lungs, this white light, through every cell in your body. Visualize as flashing red energy. So the first color code is white into the lungs. The activating of the healing energy is red light filling the body. Then you combine these two into one exhale out the nose as blue light, as a healing power of breath to space. And you keep it as simple as possible. Space is inhabited by infinite sentient beings. So it's for them. But you just think that this becomes a universal exhale, blue light. It's the color of the sky, and it's the same code as we use with, for instance, the medicine Buddha practice. Inhale white light, fill the lungs. Visualize red light flashing through the body, if you can, even through your hair. Then combine these two into one as exhaling the blue light out the nose to space. Activate your inhale and exhale with your stomach contracting and expanding. Restrict your gaze to about arm's length or 2 feet in front. To end the three lights breathing, you take your focus off the breath, collect the three lights into one tiny particle of light centered in your chest, creating a bindu or tigli, which we call a chakra energy center. This directly connects us to the first dimension of space and light, which is similar to the nature of our own natural mind. So simply rest in emptiness, like space, with no meditation. If the mind is strained, reinvent the particle in the center of your chest, and you can even increase it to the size of a small sphere of colorless light. This is a metaphor or a symbol for the infinite quality of light throughout the boundless fabric of space. Which in the ultimate reality is the nature of everything. Since we're not using a symbol, simply keep to the present moment. Past is gone. Future hasn't happened yet. And the present can't be found. And then from this profound basic space experience, again invent the particle creating a chakra in the center of your chest. This is to create an energy center that is and is not at the same time. Develop it or visualize that particle, which was based on the three lights of the breath, to expand into a tiny sphere of clear light. Make it no larger than your thumbnail. Then expand that into the side or dimension of one of the 5 elemental symbols. And as I mentioned before, tonight we're going to use the half sphere of green light as the symbol for the air, or what we call gas dimension. Now these 5 elements are the creation factor of everything that we see or think about in the entire universe. So this universal symbol causes us to be alive. in a physical body. And that is true on every planet wherever humans take birth. And you see this sphere like a bowl with a lid. Your choice of green, labeled air or gas. When you can see it clearly, then visualize it to exit out the front of your body and appear 2 feet out in front of your eyes. Imagine it there. See it there. We do this to strengthen the power of the imaginary process and the ability to focus single-pointedly at the same time. It also has a direct effect on our physical brain and what the brain does of energy transference throughout the body. Now imagine that half sphere of green light to completely enclose your body like a large room, visualizing your form just as you are, sitting inside. This concentrates the psychic energy of your own mind for healing purposes into your body, for your body. Emphasizing the healing quality of air. This greatly increases your life force and your defense against disease. Dis-ease. It helps the immune system to function in a fully positive way. Then because we're in Bodhisattva training, we extend the healing qualities or effect of this 5 elements healing meditation practice, together with the 3 lights prana yoga practice, for the area in which we live, the city, town, or for us here on Kauai, this island. Inside that green sphere, green half sphere of light, including a large surrounding area, many miles out in every direction. and above and below. Then expanded in size to completely enclose Mother Earth and all the beings that inhabit Mother Earth, from her core, center, to where the air meets the space. Inside that green sphere of clear green light, half sphere of green light. Then extended in size with your mind's ability to imagine to completely enclose all the planets, billions of miles out in every direction, and the sun inside. Making it available to all the beings in that dimension of space. Then expanded in size to completely enclose our spiral disc-shaped galaxy. A mere 100,000 light years in diameter. Then merge it with the clear light of boundless space, beyond the ability of conceptual mind to meditate, relax, as you did at the start of the practice, in the totality of healing life force throughout the fabric of boundless space. No meditation, just be present. And increase this healing capacity of this mother element space in your situation. Leaving no one out of this healing process. Then return with your imagination from this dimension again, using the air symbol to enclose the galaxy. Decrease it in size to enclose the solar system. Visualize it much smaller to enclose Mother Earth. Smaller and smaller until it encloses the town, city, or area, island, whatever, where you are doing this practice. And confine the visualization to this half sphere around your body, enclosing your form. Again, bringing the healing potential of the life force of the entire universe into you. End the practice by bringing it in front of your eyes to its original small size, 2 feet in front of your eyes. Then bring the air symbol to chest level and into your heart chakra. Shrink it in size to a small sphere of clear light, blazing like the sun. Then to a tiny particle similar to an atom as it blends with the fabric of boundless space. And relax in the bliss of the natural state of your own uninhibited, non-judgmental awareness. No meditation. Simply stay present and allow all physical sensation, thoughts, to arise from space, present themselves uninhibited, and disappear back to where they came from. This resting in emptiness is called the accomplishment stage. The actual healing practice of the meditation is the creation stage. In Sutra, Tantra, Shine, and Latang meditation, they must be practiced together. One is the nature of the other. Bring your awareness to in front of your eyes and spread it into the room or place where you are, and relax for a few moments. Take a break. This term relax can be applied in an infinite number of ways, which is really what all of these mind training bodhisattva sutra tantra practices are about. I showed you a picture of my teacher, Kalu Rinpoche, as he was up until 1989 when he decided to leave. But when he left, I happened to be in a 40-month retreat, and at the final month of the retreat doing what is called a deathless yoga practice. But when he taught us in the 70s on Maui, this 5 elements practice was his introduction to the methods of the Sutra and Tantra Shine. And he did that so that we could introduce this system of healing to not only our minds and bodies, but also to whatever our life with support systems were about. And at that time, most of us were farmers and growers and gardeners and carpenters and, physical. And of course, we all had good educations and good training in other ways, but this activated functions of how we were doing things. It kind of triggered these other tendencies that were latent in our minds and made it more accessible and acceptable to the higher tantric teachings of the deity yogas of the 5 Dhyana Buddha family. And when we mention the word dhyana, it actually is dhyana. D is the sound of light, the Sanskrit word for light. Yana is vehicle. And our body is a vehicle. It's a vehicle to transform the consciousness in very special ways, life after life. And also energize us in such a way that we can accept the in-between states of physical experience with sleep, dream, the process of leaving the body, we call dying, and the experience of the dimension of the next life, which is more like the dream state, not as dense, and how to benefit from that on an individual basis, but more importantly, how to benefit others, infinite sentient beings that you will introduce yourself to in the next life. And what is really nice about all this is not only do our tendencies carry forward, but our relationships with our mothers, fathers, friends, relatives, and how we subjugate enemies, spirits, and domesticate and take care of animal life, all of that, all those beings constantly, again, in states of enjoyment and healing, we get to be with. So when we do these spiritual practices of the 5 Dhyana Buddhas, each of the 5 Dhyana Buddha families is a remedy to thousands and thousands of states of emotional conflict. And this whole program has been put together by the Buddha, then transmitted and worked through India as an antidote to the in-place caste systems and discrepancies of the what is called the Hinayana, or Hindu tradition. And so when it evolved into Tibet, it was the antidotes to the intense environmental, life-threatening aspects of that country. It's not only very cold, but it's mostly like a desert. But for us in the West, it is to bring us back into harmony with the natural world and not destroy it, not take advantage of it, greed and other negative human frailty. So when you become this deity, it's to train the mind in the fluid aspect, this virtual aspect of everything, is that it's illusory, just like your dream state, just like your thoughts, just like these meditation practices. But more important, it trains you to apply them all inclusively, not to just a few types of animals, humans, or spirits, but the totality of life in this infinite universe. The Chenrezig practice is basically how to gain power, insight, and compassion, but it stresses, like the air element did in the 5 healing, the quality of compassion itself, the interest in the well-being of everyone and the environment we live in. And the Chenrezig practice, which is a statue right here over my left shoulder, and then this Tonka is the Chenrezig forearm, which I have the Chenrezig text, which we printed up for use in our Dharma centers here in Hawaii. Has a picture of the deity. Forearm Chenrezig. Well, this is our lineage Chenrezig. When we say lineage, I'm talking about the 12 lineages of the Kagyu tradition, of which the one we follow mostly is Karmapa, which is called the Dakpo Kagyu, but we use the forearm white Chenrezig, with the right hand holding a lotus and the left hand holding a mala for counting. So one is about all the sutra applications, and the other is all about the tantric application, which is what we're going to do next. Then 2 hands together in front are holding the voidness aspect of mind, Maha Mudra, which is called the wish-fulfilling jewel. And that's true. If you do these practices, your wishes are fulfilled. Believe, not believe. I'm just here to be a result of that quality of practice. But this devotional is the 5 elements and the 5 states of healing applied to emotionality coming together in the practice and showing respect to the source of the methods, the teacher, as this deity. So this is not only a symbol, but it is the guru. Tabby's going by. Now, the deity is encircled in a sphere of 5-colored light, and in the immediate background of the deity is a moon. That symbolizes the start of lighting up the darkness of where we are. But the outer part is like the sun, so it's lighting up an immense area like the sun. That's our solar system. So these 2 are the backrest and also the support underneath the deity, the sun disk and the moon disk. And the lotus symbolizes taking birth in the human condition as a bodhisattva, guru, teacher. And that applies to all the men and women that are alive on the planet today that are trained in this tradition, in the two natures of mind, and how to develop that in other human beings. And at the same time, take care of the animals and spirits in our environment, which is right now in dire straits, which gives us more to do, which is good for us. So we practice Chenrezig. Now, the deity you become is replacing your idea of the form body being solid, fixed, and world as permanent, which it is not. It is simply a walking bundle of germs, but that's on the relative level. On the ultimate level, it's a walking bundle of atoms. So we really are light bodies. That's a scientific fact. And each one of those is a universe. Each atom in our body is a universe. So here we have an infinite amount of responsibility for those uncountable number of atoms which make up our form. So in this way, we become Chenrezig. Then we extend that out to infinite sentient beings which fill space. Now, right here on planet Earth, we have infinite sentient beings on the surface of the Earth. Filling the ocean and the land is what we call animals. And then 8 billion humans. That's a lot of responsibility. And then all the spirit world, which inhabits the body and everything around us in totality. They're everywhere in the universe. All the planets are inhabited by spirits, for instance. Animals with humans, only this planet, Earth. So in this way, we fulfill the altruistic view of compassion, which is what this deity and all the practices that we are do are called puja. And they are, the results, the effect are extended to all beings as if each and every one was our mother, which in temporal reality is a possibility. This is the main part of the practice. Creating this deity is in your situation, you, and then extending the visualization of you being that together with all the qualities that it represents, all the abilities and positive tendencies, then that is based on the vibratory sound of this, of the 3 lights, extended now to the breath as 3 infinite qualities. Om is the infinite life force aspect of the universe, creating life, applied to your body. Ah, the sound ah, is that life force represented now in the sound of your speech as a, what we call mantra, which is the purification of your speech. And the ah, the om, the purification of your body as the deity. Then the hum is those 2 together out to the benefit of all sentient beings, healing their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual situations. These 3 together cause the evolutionary process to become simply what it is, light. And so this D is the free of the compassion of that light. Visualizing, using the mental process of our own consciousness, together with the mantra and the mandala of the deity. And this free takes the place of the particle we used in the 5 elements practice in the center of our heart chakra. And it is red in a white space. Red is the nature of radiation or fire. And it's a hook on top with the line with the tilted 5 underneath. So this is this hook is the I. This line is the natural world. This 5 is the 5 dhyana Buddhas. Then the Ah is the energy of all that, and that's very small, placed at the bottom of the 5. And then a slash is the R, which is the radiation factor. And then this is all stacked, so that's HRI, creates a Hri. And then this is all, again, placed on a lotus, sun, and moon disk in the center of our heart chakra and surrounded by a 5-colored sphere of light, which is all the 5 dhyana Buddhas and the 5 elements in one symbol. So this is the creation sound that you meditate on. The deity being created is applied to you and infinite sentient beings. That creates the mantra, Om Mani Padme Hum. Now those 6 sounds, Om Mani Pad, or Pe, in Tibetan, Me Hum, is the sound of the transformation of all sentient beings' emotionality into the antidotes of that same emotionality. That's the power of, for instance, attachment. So this becomes all attachment, desire, lust, greed, transformed into the pure nature of your mind as space and light. Now we're going to start with the 3 lights meditation. Using the 3 sounds as a transfer of the Guru, Lama's body, speech, and mind, because all Lamas do this practice, along with hundreds of others, methods. Of the Chenrezig, all the lineages do Chenrezig. So you see the Lama in front. And from the Lama's forehead, white light comes into your forehead to empower your body. Then red light from the Lama's throat comes into your throat to empower the energy now being created in the body to affect your speech. Then the blue hung from the Lama's heart chakra is the actual wisdom aspect of knowledge and how to use this for infinite healing applications. So you're entering into the dimension with these 3 coming together, Om, Ah, and Hum, into the dimension of the Hri. And when you move into the state of infinite possibilities or applications, apps, then anything is possible. Anything means everything. And that's the perks. That's the Mahamudra. And the I and the me and the mind becomes not necessary at all. Gone. Transformed, however you want to think of it, into we. And so we is infinite. I is only one. And that's why we're so limited in our position as a human race. That's a great word. to not deal with the situation we find ourselves in globally today. So here we have a potential antidote, which is what they would like to have for the situation we are entertaining presently. So the three, and we're going to meditate on this Om Ahum to get it activated, this empowerment with the breath. And then we're going to do the Chenrezig practice together with an application of the practice called Powa. And I'll explain that when we get to it. Sit with your back straight. Breathe. Oh yeah, eyes open. Breathe. Inhale white light. Hear the sound Om. The red energy pervading your body for healing purposes. Ah. Hear the sound Ah. Bring these two sounds and these two color codes together as blue light out the nose to the infinite potential of healing for all beings. Om. Inhale, hear Om. Absorption breath, Ah. Exhale, blue light to space, Om. Hear Om. Now we're going to energize these three sounds, making it into a mantra. We're going to sound this mantra together, but as you say these three sounds, Om, An, Hum, visualize the Om creating a white sphere in your head, Ah, a red sphere in your throat, and the Hum, a blue sphere of wisdom energy in your heart chakra. In the middle of the body, inside the Uma channel that runs from the head to the bottom of your torso, to the perineum. And not only did we energize the three spheres inside, but we also energized the speech with the energy coming from those three spheres into our voice. That's mantra. That's how power, compassion, and insight starts to penetrate sound, vibration. And that's the nature of this mind and the universe we live in. Then you visualize these three lights to merge one into the other. So the white Om moves down the central channel into the red Ah in your throat. Those two spheres move down together into the Hum in your heart chakra. Now that these three have combined, the Shri appears. So this is the discerning nature of your mind. This is the actual antidote to one of the hardest emotional tendencies we've carried life to life into this life, called attachment, which causes us so much trouble. And we know that attachment breeds desire, desire breeds lust, lust breeds greed, and so forth. We know this, and we know the thousands of different applications that those tendencies, troubles those tendencies create in our life situation. So this is about discerning that this relative emotionally conflicting situation of our consciousness can be transferred into a body of light and a mind of radiant awareness that in no way is judgmental. It doesn't take the subject-object dichotomy and say, this is good and this is bad. This is high and this is low. Or having absolute ignorance of the situation or any part of it. And those are the antidotes. But this attachment breeds this free and transforms all attachment, desire, lust, greed into this state of infinite potential of one's own natural, clear light awareness. And it becomes what is called, in Tai Situ Rinpoche, one of my Rude Lamas taught me, becomes awareness of the, using the higher awareness, of awareness of the judgmental quality of the relative state. That's this free. Now we practice. Focusing on the free. We send light out to the Root Lama and all the lineage teachers, men and women, present in the world today, and all of their teachers of all the lineages all the way back to Shakyamuni Buddha 2,600 years ago. All of that wisdom energy now focused from their heart centers into our heart center. And this causes you to become the mind of the teacher as Chenrezig. So you can think the teacher moving into you. And you becoming Chenrezig, forearmed, lotus, mala, hold the hands together, young, healthy, vibrant, white in color to start with. All the silks and jewels are the qualities. The 5 colors of silks symbolize the 5 elements. All the 6 kinds of jewels are the qualities of the 6 types of applications of our qualities for the benefit of the 6 kinds of sentient beings. Sitting on a lotus sun and moon disk, the lotus is 32 petals, symbolizing the heart chakra. A stainless moon or sun or mirror, however you want to think of that, as his backrest. So he's coming out of space into this temporal dimension of existence as a bodhisattva. Then the light from the Shri in your heart center and the 5 jewel crown in your head connect you to the Dhyana Buddhas. Then this energy field is around you from the Shri goes out to your mother in front. She becomes into this energy field as Chenrezig, facing you. And all your friends, relatives, lovers, pets, everybody, everything you have karma with. 8 billion sentient beings, Chenrezig. All the animals on the planet, Chenrezig. All the spirit world, heavenly spirits, demigods, war gods, spirits, goddesses and spirits. Then deprived spirits, which is lower realm, demonic spirits, those 4 kinds of spirit energy now called Chenrezig, filling space. And when you've got that all together in your mind, when you can see you and all the beings, this symbol of compassion, power, and insight, whether it be in the sutra application or the tantric application, according to the instructions of your guru, lama, having filled your mind with this causes the mantra, the heart mantra, to appear in 6 letters, 6 vibratory sounds around the Shri, inside the 5-colored light in your heart. Om in front. What? This Om is, the vibration Om is in gold. Then the Ah is in green. Then the Pe, blue, Me, white, and so forth, right on around, red, and then end up with a dark blue Hum. So Om, Ma, Ni, Pe, Mi, Hum. Each one of those is applied to one of the dimensions of the 6 kinds of transient sentient beings. According to the emotional predominant mind they possess, that created those realms. So Om is for heaven, Ma for the demigods, K for the human, Me. Om, Ma, Ni, Pe, Mi, Hum. 6. Deprived spirits and demigods. So the higher realms is the gods of the war and war gods and celestial. The middle realm is the humans and animals. And the lower realms is the deprived spirits and demonic spirit. When you say this mantra, they are transforming into the deity. All their tendencies, all that negative power application is used to transform them into the evolving bodhisattva energy program. This is how we grow, develop, and evolve in the spiritual tradition. Om, Ma, Ni, Pe, Mi, Hum. Those 6 sounds surround the tree, 6 directions, each like a colored jewel indicating the emotional conflict of being purified. Gold is for pride. Green is for jealousy. Pei is for neediness. Mi is for ignorant. And then Hum is for demonic spirit world. Om, Ma, Mi, Pe, Mi, Hum. Om, gold, Ma, green, Pe, blue, Ni, blue. Pe, white, Mi, red, Hum, black, navy blue or black, demonic spirit. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Mani Padme 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 Om Ni Pe Me Hum. Om Ma 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 Ni Pe Me Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Om Mani Padme Hum Om Padme Hum Om Mani Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum Om Mani Padme Hum. Tree. So all the Om Mani Padme Hum penetrate the 6 realms of existence, transforming all emotionality into qualities of enlightenment, Mahamudra. The free is the culmination or the fulfillment stage of becoming a 10th level bodhisattva operating in a human form in the human world on a planet. And that fulfillment stage accomplishes Buddhahood when you move from this situation of the human condition into the next world, and gives infinite potential or apps to transform that reality, just like you're dealing with this reality, with its defects as the antidote. Because if you don't have the defects, you can't have the antidote. Natural mind doesn't exist that way. You can't have good without bad. You can't have outside without inside. You can't have high without low. You can't have future without past. So all of these extremes are self-creating, like an image in a mirror. So this situation is malleable. If the antidotes weren't already in place, these practices would cause the evolutionary process to always increase. Everything always change but get better. We say higher, more appropriate, no matter what the situation. And the I doesn't have to take the credit for it. There's no I, there's no me. That's not necessary anymore. The ego disappears. This dualistic fixation of subject and object, pow, gone, pay. Universally applied. Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Create. Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Om Padme Hri. Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Om Mani Padme Hum Hri. Om Padme Hum Hri. Om Mani 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 Padme Hum Hri. Now you visualize the 6 sounds transforming all emotional afflictions of the 6 kinds of beings animals, humans, and spirit, into the tree as a Buddha, Amitabha Buddha, sitting above your head on a lotus sun and moon seat as your guru. And the tree is in the center of the Buddha, and the Om Mani Padme Hum is circling the tree in your heart center. Om Mani Padme Hum, Hri Om Mani Padme Hum. The Buddha is red, dressed in just the robes of the teacher, like the Lama's 3 robes. Om Mani Padme Hum, Hri 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 Om Mani Padme Hum, Hri. Now we're going to do consciousness transference, and this can be a daily practice accomplished with only 7 times in daily practice, or in retreat as many times as possible, if you're doing a retreat of Powa. To do this practice, you take the tree from your heart center and place it in front of each eye. Block these orifices. Then one in each ear, outside the orifice of each ear. Then one in front of your mouth. And one in front of each nostril. So that's 7. Then the lower orifices, 3 for women and 2 for men. Block. Once you've done this, take the mantra Om Mani Padme Hum, just the seeds of that mantra and the Shri in your heart center. Take the 6 syllables of the mantra into the Shri. Then, with these orifices blocked with the Shri, assemble your life force into the Shri. Then slowly raise it up the central channel, up through the throat, center of the head, and out through the Uma channel opening towards the back of your head, not the crown, but towards the back. Up into the heart center of the Buddha above your head as the ultimate guru, equal to the dimension of space. And you do that by sounding the Shri. So focus on the Shri in your heart center, and then sound the Shri, and as you do that, see it raise up the central channel and merge with the Shri in the heart of the life-size Buddha symbol above your head. And that is the totality equal to the dimension of infinite space. Inhale. Now is merged with the Amitabha, red Amitabha above your head, heart to heart, Shri to Shri, no limit, infinite potential applied to it, the energy of attachment, desire, lust, and greed. And with that state of discerning awareness as the Shri, say ah. And then when you say ah, bring the energy of that back down the central channel, back into your heart center, and see it firmly anchored there.
Do you see,
Ah.
do you see the ah symbol?
No, not the ah. You see the Shri, but say ah.
Right.
Okay, so up. Shri. Ah. That's one. We're going to do it 7 times. Inhale. Inhale. You are becoming infinite light of space, your natural mind, increasing your capacity, preparing for the moment of leaving your body. Oh. 5th time. Inhale. Oh. Now these last 2 times we're going to do it fast. And the sound is H-R-I-K. It goes like this. So you move directly from the Shri in your heart into the heart of Amitabha Buddha above your head. Last time. 7th time. Focus on the tree. Do it like that. Then from that dimension back down into your heart. Oh. Then you bring the trees that were blocking your orifices back into the tree in your heart center. From the lower orifices and the 7 in your head. Mouth, nostril, eyes, ears. Once all these are returned to the tree in your heart center, sound the mantra of the deity. Om Mani Padme Hum Shri 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 Om Mani Shri Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Shri Om Mani Padme Om Shri Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Shri Om Mani Padme Om Shri Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Shri Om Mani Om Shri Om Mani Padme Hum Shri Om Mani Padme Hum Shri Om Mani Padme Om Shri Om Mani Padme Hum Shri Om Mani Padme Hum Shri Om Padme Hum Shri Om Mani Padme Hum Shri Om Mani Padme Hum Shri Om Mani Padme Shri Om Mani Padme Hum 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 Shri. At this point, you can finish the practice, moving into the fulfillment stage. When you do that, infinite sentient beings are Chenrezig. All of these sentient beings, infinite number, implode into you. So in your mind, from every direction, they stream into you as the central Chenrezig, the central symbol, like rain into a lake, from every direction. Then you as Chenrezig, the symbol of compassion, power, and insight, disappear into the 6 syllables of the mantra. Then the white Om, the gold Om, the green Ma, the blue Ni, the white Pe, the red Mi, and the dark blue Hum or black Hum, all one by one disappear into the tree. It, in a circle of 5 colored light, disappears into the boundless light of space. The nature of your natural mind. In this fulfillment stage, there is no meditation. You move into voidness or emptiness in the present moment. Simply keep to that. Make no judgment about what arises. In this way, you entertain bliss. The first level of joy as a bodhisattva. We have a few minutes left to do the long life practice that complements this practice of Chenrezig and the Powa practice which we did tonight. And the long life practice is to generate the free, and you as Chenrezig, four-arm Chenrezig or two-arm, your choice, and four dakinis in the four directions, red, green, white, and blue, each holding an empowerment base. Then from the Buddha Amitabha above your head, which you did the Powa with, he's holding a bowl of wisdom nectar light. This nectar overflows into the vases of the four standing dakinis. One represents earth, one water, one fire, and one air. They fill up with the nectar of the Buddha's bowl flowing into their vase, and out the empowerment spouts pours into the Uma channel, filling your body from the top down. And you sound the mantra of the Buddha Amitabha while you're performing this long life practice. Om Amitabha Deva Hri, 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 Om Amitabha Deva Hri. Om Amitabha Deva Hri, 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 Om Then the four Dakinis disappear into the Amitabha Art Center, 3. Then Amitabha merges into your Art Center, and you disappear into the 3, into space. Then we do the dedication prayer to finish tonight's virtuous activity of these practices. And I'll read the first prayer called The 8 Thoughts of the Great Bodhisattva as a dedication prayer. By the power of the truth of the great compassion of the excellent objects of refuge, and by the power of the virtue and merit of this pure altruism in practice, may I completely remove every misery of all living beings who fill the sky. By the perfect virtue of this world and of nirvana, may all the hopes and desires of all beings be fulfilled according to their wishes, appropriate wishes. May my own body, flesh, blood, skin, and so forth appropriately benefit all living beings and my environment. May the misery of all my old mothers, all living beings come upon me, and may all my happiness and virtue be realized by them. For as long as I remain in this world, may there never arise for even an instant the thought of harming others or my environment. For the sake of all living beings, may I energetically exert myself, not slacking for even an instant. Kewa di nurdu da, shagya chapo drugirne, drowa chinking malupa, te sala koparsho, Sanjay Gusu Nempai Jamada, Shoni Maker Nempai Jamada, Gendu Miche Nempai Jamadi, Sitar Goma Manju Parsho. By this virtue of having realized Mahamudra, may I quickly establish all beings without a single exception in that state. By the blessings of the 3 bodies of the Buddha being accomplished, by the blessing of the truth of this Dharma being unchanging, and by the blessing of the wishes of the Sangha, that's us, being unwavering, may this and all dedication prayers be fulfilled. And my Tashi prayer is that all the longness have long life, good health, happiness, and prosperity, and may all their wishes be fulfilled. And my aspiration prayer is that all beings be happy and have the cause of happiness, be free of suffering and cause of suffering, may be established in bliss through our motivation and practice, and all attain